All right, it's 10 o'clock. We call the meeting to order. Notice the meeting was properly posted on Friday, June 9th, 2017. Item number 3, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes from the special meeting on May 3rd, 2017.
They went on and on and on.
Yeah, I bet. And I noticed, I mean, it's just kind of motion and second. There's not any of the discussion stuff, and that's probably just to save you guys time. And I guess
That's typically how we do minutes now.
and we're relying on the tape and all that. Okay. Well, then I do have a couple changes that I would suggest. On page number 4, I know they're not numbered, so you'll just have to count it out.
They're numbered at the top. I see it now.
Oh, they sure are.
I didn't think they were.
I'm used to looking in the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
We do have a full discussion on an item on here. It says Buchanan said that for the record, the Commissioner Vaughn is okay, blah, 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 blah. If we're not going to have the discussion on anything else, I don't think we can pick and choose what we're going to put discussion on, so I think we remove that.
Okay.
Would be my recommendation.
My grandkids would be proud to read that at some
They can
point.
listen to
They can listen to it on video.
Anytime you want.
On page 6, there's it says motion by Stein, second by Buchanan to remove Employee Benefits Department 265. Was it to remove the department, or was it to remove the funding? Because we can't remove the department, and that reads like it's...
We typed that verbatim, so that if
Okay,
you want us to
then there may need
adjust
to
it,
be
we
some
can.
clarification, because...
So what do you want to say, remove?
Well, that's... My understanding wasn't that we were talking about removing the department. It was the funding.
Remove the funding
I
for.
think that's at a point in our spreadsheet. We had moved money down to 265.
And we were taking it out.
And I think that's what you meant.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Zero.
both listened to that,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what we were supposed to do there, so. 4, okay.
So what's the...
I just put, to remove the funding for the Employee Benefits Department 265.
Who was the third nay?
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. Would anyone like to fess up to that?
I'm going to say
Sometimes it's very hard.
sign if you made the motion.
No, the nay.
Who was the nay?
Oh, Renee. Oh, I got you.
I'll have to look at the minutes.
It may have been me.
Or look at the,
There's 3 nay.
Right, but only 2 names.
Oh, there's Sullivan School.
You
were against.
I was against it, but in the end, I was even more against funding it out of 2 places. So if we were going to fund it out of the clerk's budget, I didn't want to double dip and fund it both places. So that's why I'm saying it may have been me. I don't remember if
I'll
it
go back
was
and
still
look at
there.
the tape.
But that was my reasoning. I was against it, but if we're going to fund it one place, we didn't need to fund it in another.
All coming back to me how confusing it was.
Yeah.
Like a while ago now.
I think that's all the changes that I had. I don't know if anybody else had any changes.
if you're okay with me making those changes, as amended, I will get that done before I get them to you to sign.
Okay. Is there
That way we can get them approved
a
today.
motion to approve the minutes as amended from the special meeting on May 3rd, 2017?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Item number 4, discussion of possible action to receive an update on employee benefits.
All right. Where we are as of today of employee benefits, we've got available appropriation of $357,000. At our Thursday meeting, we're going to appropriate the May receipts of $52,000, and we're going to go ahead and appropriate all the June receipts that we can, which is $226,000. Typically, that's done the following month, so we're kind of eating into what we normally appropriate next month, but so we can use it now. So we'll have $635,000 available. We've got medical and prescription claims. Next week's claims, we know these numbers, these first 2 numbers here, and then we've got stop loss claims that they're going to fund out of this amount next week also. So and then Physicians Mutual, that's an estimate based on the average, and then we've got 1 more week of claims that last week of June, and these are averages for medical and prescription claims. Obviously, if it can go higher, then the average may not have enough to cover, or if it can be a lot less, then we can carry over what's left over. So with these numbers plugged in, we're going to be short about $514,000. I know on our agenda, we had 1 million. The last 2 weeks' claims came in a lot lower than we had anticipated, which is good. So I would recommend that we make a recommendation to transfer $550,000 to get us to the end of the fiscal year.
And you're telling me, if I heard you right, the last three items under expenditures are all estimates?
Yes, these
The
three.
three that
Right.
just one.
Correct.
So Danny,
Are you
you're-
doing your normal conservative estimates that are kind of high?
No, it's just, it is an average.
Average
Okay,
of-
You know, those first 2 weeks of the year that were really high, took those out, and took an average.
so Danny, are you gonna amend item 5 from the 1 million to the 550? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
You'll see on the monthly report, if I get the budget report Thursday, these numbers are as of the end of May. That number's 719. That's because it's got numbers through May. May was a really high month. But when you plug in the June's, first 3 weeks of June's claims, that number goes down, so. But I will definitely show this to the budget report on Thursday as well.
This page?
Mhm.
Okay, so Danny, if we transfer in 550,000
Yeah.
this time, what is the total amount of transfers then that we will have done for the fiscal year?
We've done 9.9 so far. 500,000 of that came from workers' comp. I was gonna show this also.
The 9.9, does that include the 550?
No, you'll have.
Okay, so 10.4.
Yes. Just gonna show everybody here.
How much from reserve, Danny, total for the year?
From reserve, to date, we've added 9.4 million. Taking 9.4 million, I'm sorry, not out of reserve.
So far, just one.
That's our reserve.
I know, right? 1.5.
Sorry,
That's what I was getting at. So we
1.5
added-
so far.
Right, so we add this, we're gonna be about 2 million, and then we added, how much did you say for workers' comp, 500,000? So about 2.5 million is what we've supplemented it from the initial.
And when we built the reserve estimate, when we built the fund balance for next year, this is what we estimated that we would lapse out of reserve. At the time, it was 3.2 million. We transferred 500,000 April 20th. We transferred 500,000 on May the 18th. So this 550 is pretty close to what we had estimated, about 50,000 more. And then we, had kept back the sheriff's and the cap amounts out of that. So that'll eat into that 250,000 from what we estimated.
Okay.
Is that money counted in the budget for 17, 18? The 1.4?
Yes. But I'm saying if we move 550, that'll lower that by 50,000.
Just 550.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Danny? Okay, is there a motion to receive the update?
So,
Got a motion to receive the update on employee benefits, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passed unanimously. All right, item number 5, which relates to item number 4, discussion and possible action to recommend the transfer of $1 million from General Fund Reserve 995 to Employee Benefit Supplement 991. This transfer is necessary to pay medical and prescription claims for the remainder of the fiscal year. Before we get into discussion on this one, I did want to just make a clarification for the record. The draft agenda that came out on Friday has this on there, and the agenda item is discussion and possible action on resolution BB 39317, transfer of general fund appropriations from Reserve 995 to Employee Benefits Supplement 991 in the amount of $1 million. Transfers necessary to pay employee medical and prescription claims. But it does say this item is recommended by the Budget Evaluation Team. I just want, for the record, we've not decided to make a recommendation. I don't want anybody to be confused thinking that we met outside of open meeting or something like that and came to a conclusion and just, rubber stamping it here.
My question would be, why would the drafts not
leave the recommended by BET off, and then it'd be amended after this meeting.
Yeah, I should.
Okay, and I'm not trying to.
For the future.
I want to make
We've
sure.
always done this because we have to get it on there and anticipating the fact that you guys are gonna, well, now, wait a minute, so we would have that typically before, I think this was an early meeting, I guess is the reason, yeah.
Right, which is why we did these on Tuesdays, because then we have that time to amend for the Thursday meetings. So I'm not trying to, throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. I just want to make sure that the public and anybody that's paying attention is aware that the action that we're going to take is actually coming up on this particular item.
Of course, that is just a draft, not the actual, so.
Sure.
Are you telling me to take off the
No,
order?
I'm
I mean,
just.
obviously, I'm gonna post tomorrow the real deal, which is what's gonna have your actual recommendation, right?
You don't work for me, so I'm not telling you what to do or how you do your job. I'm just making a clarification that on the record here that we have not made a recommendation. Whether it's the easiest and the best practice for you guys to post it the way you do, and if the DA's office is fine with it, I don't care about that part. I just want on the record here to know that we've not made a decision on that. So, and I'm guessing, Danny, that you would like to change based upon your dialogue with Steve, this $1 million to the 550?
Yes, I'd like to amend that number to 550.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the table to recommend a transfer of $550,000 from the general fund reserve to employee benefit supplement 991. Is there any other discussion, questions?
Just clarification, any lapse you have in employee benefits will stay there and help fund next fiscal year.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Item number 6, discussion regarding any item currently on the BET watch list. We've got the court clerk and DA storage, we've got employee benefits, which we just took care of, but it was a $0 amount anyway. The jail mechanical system, jail temporary kitchen, and inmate medical cap overage. Any discussion on any of these items?
Personally, jail temporary kitchen, you can strike that from the BET watch list. Looking at the numbers for food, since the kitchen wasn't open all year, and saw also because we saw a little bit of a decrease in our population, it appears as though what we encumbered for this fiscal year will cover us for this fiscal year on food. As far as the inmate medical cap overage, I'd like to leave that on there. However, whenever we transferred, well, let me give you an update as where we're at. Last month when I gave the update on the estimated cap overage, it was roughly $550,000. We asked Armor to give us the report before this meeting, and the estimate that they gave us this month was $674,000, which is an increase from where we were last month. With that being said, looking at all the numbers in totality, we're about 85% of what our average population was last year, and a lot of our expenses as far as pharmacy or in hospitalization days are all trending around at 85%. So we saw that come down, that was a little bit surprising, but good. When we looked at transferring beginning of the year, we had to cover 10%, and then we transferred money from salaries and benefits. When we transferred money back up to salaries and benefits, I left about $300,000 in M&O, just as maybe a holding for the medical cap. And then one other thing I looked at recently was the staffing penalties, and also since our population was lower, the credits we got back for per diem from Inmate Medical. And the way that's tracking is, what I'm gonna do is, I believe that I'm gonna be able to, with a small transfer back out of salaries and benefits, down into M&O, closing the current blanket that sits with Inmate Medical, and then re-encumbering for the month of June, which there'll be funds in there to do so, will free up the staffing penalties that are currently being held as part of that blanket. Albeit, at least unless we see some horrific jump, I feel comfortable that I can pull the money together from the staffing penalties, the $300,000 I left, just as a safety net, to cover this amount, and not ask for any funds out of general fund reserve.
John, you said you think you'll be able to do that. When do you anticipate having a better?
I've run all the numbers about 5 or 6 different ways in the last week just to try and see everything. I've also factored in the June payroll. I looked at using May's numbers on June payroll, using May's numbers for the 10 days of June that goes into July, and taking into consideration all of those. I think I can scratch enough together to cover without asking for some, especially with the staffing penalties and the per diem reimbursement we've gotten. So I think that's positive news. So Danny, your comment earlier about that number going down by 50,000, I'm sorry to tell you that might be false. I think it might go up. And I'm just going to keep a really close eye on it. And worst case scenario, I would, last 2 or 3 days of the fiscal year. No, I've asked Armor to provide me a new update of their estimates on June 20th. Kind of about 2/3 of the month to see where we sit, see if we've seen fluctuation up or down. But I tried to look at everything we had and to ensure that we could try and cover. Staffing penalty is something we didn't have last year to the tune we have this year.
674, that was through what date? Was that through?
May 31st, yeah.
So you still got a month.
We still have a month. And the reason why we saw the significant jumps was just the number of in-hospitalization days we saw in March, April, and May. March, April, and May, we had almost double our average each month. So that was really the driver of that. Our pharmacy costs are around $90,000 to $100,000 less than they were last year. It's roughly about 85%. So again, I think that's indicative and can be tied back to the population coming down from an average of about 2,450 down to about 2,180 high round. But we're doing everything we can to try and cover that. Like I said, all that $300,000 back, and just tried to make that work with when we start DO academies and things of that nature. So.
Can you explain the staffing penalties? What that means?
There's a staffing matrix for what Armor has to have medical, like employee-wise, and if they don't meet those, then we get credits back.
Okay.
No, not staffing penalties on our side. It's on the medical provider. But I will continue to keep you guys updated, and if I think we need to reconvene for something, I'll let the chair know.
I have just one question. When we've struck items off of here before, haven't we always had an agenda item? And I'm back to the temporary kitchen, you said strike it. I just didn't know.
We reduced it to a penny.
Well, I think we can remove.
I know, it's silly, I know, I'm just trying to.
I think we can
remove
remove.
things? Okay, I thought we had items where,
I don't.
I don't remember.
We moved ours last
Yeah.
month, but we didn't have a separate one.
Yeah.
Good enough? I
Otherwise,
prefer not
I'd
to.
recommend moving it to a quarter of a penny.
Okay. I think if it's the office that put it on there, for
And
instance,
they
the
want-
sheriff's office, and they want to remove it, then I think it's their item, they can remove it. If somebody else, if I was like, you know what, I don't think they need that, let's remove that, then that would probably be a separate agenda item.
And I agree with you, I just
Yeah.
don't remember if you had, okay.
Okay, so do we need to, I guess we would just remove employee benefits then as well, is that correct? Yeah. I mean, it's $0 anyway.
I'll keep that line because we'll have the recommended column.
Yeah, and we'll need to, last year we forgot, but we'll need to clear this list at some point and start anew next fiscal year, so. Anyway, any other discussion on any of these items? Okay. Item number 7, new business. Any new business? Seeing none, citizens' participation. Board comments, Mr. Satterwhite?
No, thank you.
Christie?
No?
Rick? Sean? Nope. Larry? Dan? None for me. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Everything's unanimous. Sit down.